Hello and welcome to Ian's Bricks. I'm Ian and today I've got a review of an old modular set. This is the set behind me. This is set number 10185. It's the modular building Green Grocer and this was on sale I think from between 2008 and 2010. I do still have the box for this, but it's up in my attic, so I didn't bother getting it down for this video, but I do still have that. It comes with 3 instruction booklets, as you can see behind me there. Really great set. This was the third in the modular building line that they produced, Lego, after the sort of the Market Street factory one, which some people dispute whether it's a Lego proper modular building set or not, and the Cafe Corner. But this was the first of the modular buildings that they did which had any kind of interior. The previous ones before this were all empty inside, didn't have anything in. It was just sort of for visual from the outside, but this one, as well as looking great, it does have some internal features. Admittedly, there's on the upper floors there's not a great deal of stuff, but I'll get to that in a bit. Anyway, first of all, I wanted to show you some of the things that are in the instruction booklets. This is what the instruction booklet looks from the outside. As you can see, just got a picture of the set, but it's particularly what's in the back of the book that was interesting to me here. So on the first book here, there are 3 books altogether for the 3 different levels: the bottom, the middle, and the top. And on the back of the original instructions here, we have a couple of old advertisers, long since retired sets here. The original Millennium Falcon, obviously they've released a new version of that, and one of the many variations of the 8080 Star Wars Walker. So I'm not quite sure why they're advertising that kind of stuff. So that sort of just shows you the build, and also what they do this fantastic picture here of the first 3 modular buildings. So these are the ones I was talking about. So the first one they did was the Cafe Corner, which is this one here. Looks great from the outside but no interior. We obviously have the Cafe Corner in the middle, and on the left hand side there you see the Market Street. So that's sort of the original 3 all together in all their glory. They do look great from the outside, but as I say, there's very little interiors in most of these. The second booklet, even more interesting stuff being advertised. Some stuff I wish I'd got back in the day. Look at that, advertising the old Eiffel Tower. They've never redone this. I'm surprised they haven't actually. 10181 was the set there. Again, this was sort of out 12 or so years ago. It retired. And this set here, this was celebrating 50 years of the Lego brick or Lego, or I can't remember what it was. It was plastic Lego toys. I can't remember what the actual deal was. But this set here was out in 2008. Again, something I never picked up at the time and sort of regret now, because they're worth loads of money on the secondary market. And we also had a few of the older style Creator sets as well. And back in the day, the Creator buildings didn't come with minifigures, so they were just the buildings on their own, but they pretty much do them all with minifigures now. And on the third one, not an awful lot going on here, just a couple of adverts on the back. So let me show you the actual set itself then from the outside. So just give you a brief overview of the actual set itself and how it looks like from the outside. So I think you can agree that it looks pretty impressive from the outside of the building. Obviously we have the Green Grocer shop at the bottom here. We have sort of a couple of other levels here. A little entrance hall. This is a built pram that you get. No baby with this set though. And the modular building, they all come with the white lampposts on this side. Now, one thing I have done, I've amended it slightly. I've put it on a normal thickness, the normal thickness base plates. When these were originally released, they actually came with the the thinner base plates. As you can see here from the first page of the instruction booklet, there just are 2 16 by 32 thin green base plates that actually go to make up the set. But the reason I've put them on thicker base plates is because this will go in my Lego City, and I didn't see the point of building it and then having to swap it all over again. If I just show you the side views look actually quite good. I know in some of the later buildings they sort of had lots of it wasn't sort of a nice uniform sort of colour. Obviously we've got a couple of different coloured stripes in here which look quite good. And then on the back, I've got all the minifigures all just sat down at the back at the bottom. But you can see we've got this rather elaborate fire escape thing going on here. We've got some windows at the back, a little entrance area there, balcony at the top. I'll get to all the levels eventually. And then at the side, again, a similar thing. It looks pretty good. and it's fairly uniformed. And we have obviously the pinholes at the bottom there, so you can attach other modular buildings. I think I've got the pins in that side there to show you how that looks. So let's get into this. We're going to start from the top down, and I'll show you how everything looks. Just a couple of things to point out on the very top level here. What was interesting, when they made this banister here, they used hammers, which is quite an interesting feature that they used there. Obviously we've got a chimney here as well, and if I just sort of turn the building round, you probably saw that just before, but we have this rather nice little balcony area on the back where we've got some flowers. There's a little brick built sort of barbecue thing there, which is a bit unstable. A couple of seats on swivels, a little parasol, and obviously a door that leads down the stairs. And what's interesting is this actually is kind of almost like the fourth or the fourth section here, and this whole area lifts off. And if I sort of just show you what it looks like underneath, so you can see that it's just a fair shell basically, nothing really in there. But yeah, it's interesting how this section comes off, so you can get access to the second floor. And again, it's sort of interesting how it works, because we obviously have these bits here at the front which sort of stick up, and these little bits here. It is very sort of, it's all very interesting how it goes together, but it's very, very good. As you can see, the interior is fairly sparse, not a lot going on here at all. We have the stairs, as you can see, which go up to the top level, which we've just seen. What you can also see is the sort of the internal workings of this, how that all fits together there. It's fairly blank on the outside, but these just sort of rest in like this. They can be moved out, so that's fairly straightforward. The only pieces of furniture or things that we have in the building here are these three things. There's a carpet, which is just made up of some tiles. We have this little radiator, which is quite nice, and then we have this sort of grandfather clock type thing, and this is sort of attached into the actual build, which is very, very interesting how they do that. So you can't actually take the whole thing out. It's all sort of integrated within the build. So that's all very clever. Also, just wanted to note another modification that I actually made to this set, and I did this quite a while ago. But as you can see, most of the set has got glass in the windows, which is great. Oop, just knocked him over. This piece here, these smaller ones, these obviously don't have glass in. These ones do, and obviously we've got some gaps here at the top, which I never quite like it when they've got gaps, because it just doesn't sit well with me. But these windows at the side, there are four of these sort of slightly larger, longer windows. Originally, with the set, you just get plain windows with no glass in, and they were almost sort of train-like windows with a slightly thicker rim around the outside. And the idea was that you just put those windows in that way round, sort of backwards, sort of facing inwards, with sort of great big gaps in the windows. And I never liked that. I never did like that at all. So I just made the simple modification when I was able to buy some of these windows here with some glass in, and I bought some of those. I just don't think the glass was available. When they first produced this in 2008, I just don't think those windows were available. And I think by about 2010-11, these you could buy them from Lego directly. So I bought four of the windows just to go in there, and I just think that looks a lot nicer, a lot neater. So let's take this section off here. So the whole of this piece comes off. What you do get is you get a part of the fire escape that comes off. The rest of it sort of stays behind. And also what's interesting I find with this, obviously you can see what the underneath looks like. We have the bay window area here, how that's made, is sort of how the buildings fit together. Now, in later modular buildings, what they tended to do is they just left all of the area around the top flat. But you can see here how we have sort of little raised bits here and there, that's sort of raised up again. So there's two sort of very, very subtle differences there on the heights. And then you can see here on the top building how there's sort of little gaps here. It just sort of makes it slot in and means that it won't move around. It's sort of very interesting how they do that. But later buildings, they sort of didn't bother doing that, and they literally just had the pieces flat. All right, so this area here is very, very barren. Why they didn't put any pieces in here, I'll never understand, but not a lot going on, as you can see. What is interesting is the bay window, how they did that. Fairly simple with the curved pieces here, these little joints here. We have some joins going all the way around. And the only thing we've really got, we have these two curtain builds here. We have a fireplace right at the back of the room. And I think, is that it? I mean, it really. Oh yes, there's this little thing here. So we have the stairs up to the second floor, and a small banister rail, and we have a cat. And I don't know why the cat's there, but it just, that's where it goes in the instructions. So it's a bit weird, I know. But so yeah, nice lot of space that you get in this. Especially compared to some of the more modern buildings where there's very little space on the upper floors because they tend to taper them off so they save money and save bricks and things. But yeah, just not a lot going on. Very sort of disappointing really when you look at them nowadays. But all of that is made up for when we look at the lower level. And if I just take this off here, show you how that goes. So all of that comes off here. We've got the majority of the fire escape that comes with that. But as you can see, this is the main level here. I'm just going to need to move my camera down a bit so we can see into there. So there's an awful lot going on. I think the best thing for me to do is to start probably at the front. So at the front of the building, again, very interesting builds how they do this. They do this sort of whole flat area here where the bay window sits on. Very interesting how they've done that. I'll show you close up on the pram. It's just sort of a shell there, but it's all brick built, which is quite nice, quite clever. Just have some sort of studs not on top of the seat there. The wheels don't actually move and go round, they are fixed and set there. So at the front of the greengrocer's shop we have a couple of crates here. We have apples and some cherries there. We have some printed pieces as well. So these pieces here on the side and on the top of the door, they are actually printed pieces. Very interesting how they actually look. They're just sort of gold with that sort of weird design on them. And a rather nice awning, a couple of lights. We've got a small fire hydrant there, another container there. And I think the best thing for me to do is if I can sort of show you into this bit here. So we have a rather cute little area where we can see the mailboxes. So there we go. So there's almost like a foyer area. So you have the this here, which goes all the way out to the back, and there's an open entrance there, which my finger's poking through there. But yeah, we've got some mailboxes for the residents upstairs, even though there's nowhere for the residents to actually sleep or live or anything. And then also what you can probably see is we have some stairs which go all the way up. Slightly weird layout. You have this very thin area here on the half landing. But there's a door into that area there. It's very difficult to get into all of this, but hopefully you can see most of it. And the best feature really is the main greengrocer set itself. Let's just sort of zoom out a little bit there. Fantastic floor design, absolutely amazing, really sort of vibrant colours. In the front of the store we have some more vegetables. We have some carrots, some croissants there, and some bananas. We have a till area with just a few condiments and things on. There's a clock in the corner there, as you can see. And the best feature is this, which is the refrigerator. And I'm going to have to sort of get down at a different angle to show you inside there. So here's a different view of the building at the bottom. Actually, it's quite good, but you can see the gap look at the back, how the hall goes all the way through from the mailboxes. But this is the bit that we're looking at here. And you can see at the back portion of this left-hand side of the greengrocer, you have this fridge here, which is full of all different sort of bottles and jugs and cartons. I mean, they're fairly plain, none of them are printed, but we just have some sort of round cylindrical pieces there to sort of signify bottles and cans. And on the right hand side we have some rather nice sort of milk cartons and juice cartons, things like that. So it's just very, very clever how that sort of went in. If I just sort of show you it from the top here, where you can, the light's getting a bit funny, but you can sort of see it there. Obviously those close up, and again this is sort of integrated into the build, so it's very clever how this sort of all went in and sort of fitted in. It doesn't come out, it's sort of all sort of fixed in with these pieces here. So yeah, altogether the bottom of the floor looks fabulous. We obviously have tiling throughout. The steps are all tiled. We have this different coloured tiled area here. So just a lot going on really. And if I show you at the back, let's get rid of the minifigures because we'll show you those in a second. But just a little bit going on really at the back. So we have the entrance area here. No door on this, just a couple of lights on the outside. We have some foliage there. And there's a box here with some tools, some spades, hammers and things. And there's a couple of waste containers here. One with a piece of loose wood in there, and have a couple of bits of just sort of spare blocks in there which fitted in there, so the instructions tell you to do that. So yeah, altogether the downstairs is the best part of the actual build. It's really nice how it all goes together. Oh, little door at the side there that leads out to the store. Just really nice. I think if they did this again today, they'd probably try and cram a lot more into this. But when this first came out, this is the first time they'd done an interior, and it was just amazing. I remember sort of thinking, God, this really is fantastic. Anyway, let's have a look at the minifigures. There are 4 minifigures altogether. We have this lady here. They're all very plain, really, all very basic. I mean, she just literally has a white top. There's no printing or anything. She's just some nice coloured legs though, and the hairpiece is quite nice as well. We have this guy here. He's got his top hat on. He's all done up to the nines. He's got his suit again. That's printed. No printing on the legs. We have the greengrocer worker. I think this is supposed to be male, perhaps. Not sure whether it's male or female. Probably male, but he has sort of some overalls on, so I would assume he works in the store. And we have a child figure as well, a scout. Quite a nice print on there. None of these figures have any back printing. No back printing at all, and basically the heads of the minifigures, none of them have backs on them, and they're just a plain old-fashioned style smiley face minifigures. They did that for quite a few minifigures. They kind of stuck to that, and then they eventually went to different coloured, different styles of faces and things like that. Anyway, so let's do an overview of the whole set. So there we have it then, all back together again. This is probably one of my favourite modular buildings. I know there are probably slightly better ones out there that people would say nowadays, simply because of the lack of interior in there. But I think for me, because this was the first modular building I ever bought, so I bought this in 2009. I bought this before the Cafe Corner and the Market Street. And this just set me off really with Lego again. I'd not bought Lego for years, and they just sort of started to do this kind of thing, sort of aimed more at adults and more expensive. This retailed at £100 in the UK, so you know, it was a fairly expensive set even back then, sort of, you know, 12, 13 years ago. But yeah, first modular building I bought, and I just loved it. It was amazing. I've sort of never looked back really with the modular buildings. I've got all of them. Some of them I haven't built yet still. There's still a couple of them in boxes, but I will get round to them. And I have to say, I really enjoyed rebuilding this again. This has been in pieces for quite a while, so I had to rebuild this for this video, and just thoroughly enjoyed building it again. I was disappointed. I couldn't remember how bare and barren the first and second floors were. It was really like, oh, there really is nothing in here, which is a little bit of a shame. That's the only thing I think really that lets the set down. And some of the building techniques as well, they're quite interesting, but to today's standards, they've certainly improved. They've got more pieces nowadays. They can do more things. But I think with the pieces that they had at the time, I think they did a really good job of this. Anyway, I hope you liked this review. I will be doing reviews of all the modular buildings over time. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please like and comment if you haven't already. Thank you to all my subscribers as always. Thank you for watching, and take care.